suppose we'll start with the news maybe that broke a little bit earlier. It's obviously not club related as such, but Lee Keegan announces his retirement from the Mayo senior footballers. Just looking at some statistics of him here, like he played from 2011 to 2022, obviously now, with the fact he's retired, 7 Connacht titles in there, 1 National Football League title, 5 All-Stars, played in a whole host of All-Ireland finals as well, 67 appearances in the championship, 7 goals and 48 points. And in the league, 70 appearances, 8 goals and 69 points. Just looking at some stats on Wikipedia there. He obviously won Footballer of the Year as well in 2016, as well as a whole host of honours at club level as well with Westport about intermediate level. And of course, very recently at senior level, winning the county title with Mayo. So, I mean, Lee Keegan retiring, is he, like, where does he rank in your opinion in terms of the greatest player to never win an All-Ireland? I mean, he has to be right up there.
He's number 1 for me. Yeah, I really think he is. You listed it out there and you actually forgot that, he was a nominee for Player of the Year in 2021. He led the way for Mayo, and just the amount of clutch moments that this guy had. I mean, you think about his goal year, like back-to-back years as well, 2016 and 2017, and both those times that he stuck that ball in the net, I have to say I thought Mayo were going to win both years in a row. When he scored, I was like, I don't see any way that Mayo don't win this game now. But then what happened next happened. He is, I've said this, I've been outspoken about this, he is probably the best right half back I've ever seen. James McCarthy is very close second, but in terms of a right half back, I'd have Jack McCaffrey as my left half back, but as my right half back, I think Lee Keegan. It's just, when he was at his peak, when he had those battles with Dermot Connolly in Croke Park, he was probably one of the most skilled players that's ever played the game in Dermot Connolly, but he more than met his match in Lee Keegan, and the battles between those two were epic. Like, that was, in terms of 2 players going up against each other, that was, a battle for the ages. Keegan is not only, in my opinion, probably the best player to never win an All-Ireland. You could argue he's Mayo's greatest player in terms of, what he's done. Just the different roles that he's filled out, the different people that he's marked. And to think as well that in 2019, Conor O'Callaghan roasted him when he got put back into the full back line. And a lot of people were saying back then that he wasn't the same guy, he wasn't the same player anymore. And he came roaring back to nearly win Footballer of the Year in 2021. And it's a real shame that he doesn't have an All-Ireland medal. I'd strip away the whole Dublin Mayo thing. As a footballer, he's one of my favourite footballers to have played the game. He more than deserves a Celtic Cross. And but he's nothing left to give in terms of, he owes nothing to Mayo. He owes nothing to the game. He is one of the best players that I've seen. And all the best in retirement, Lee.
Yeah, and I don't have the number there in terms of how many All-Ireland finals he's actually played in, but I'd imagine it's just off the top of my head, thinking them all through.
If you're counting replays, yeah.
Yeah, it's around 7 or 8. Yeah, All-Ireland finals,
5
I think,
or 6
in total.
at least, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just mental, really. And as you said there, rivalries aside, obviously when Dublin were playing Mayo in these All-Ireland finals, we obviously wanted Dublin to win and we didn't want Lee Keegan to play well, but if anyone deserves one, it's definitely him, because I think down the years, a lot of Mayo players have got a lot of criticism for All-Ireland finals and maybe not showing up and maybe not producing their best performance on the day. And sometimes it's a little bit harsh, but, and sometimes maybe it's a little bit justified as well. But I think one player you cannot level that criticism to is Lee Keegan, because I don't remember him playing bad in an All-Ireland final off the top of my head. Maybe if I went back and watched every game, I changed my opinion. But my only memories as a Dublin fan was that he was such a clutch player, where he scored big points, big goals in big moments, time and time again. And that was when he was playing as a defender. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and that's quite rare. So probably one of the biggest clutch players Mayo have had. And yeah, it's unfortunate that, he doesn't finish with that Celtic Cross.
Yeah, no, it's a damn shame. As I said, I wish he had one. I do genuinely wish he had one. Obviously, if I had to pick a year for him to win one, I would have picked 2021, where they weren't playing Dublin in the final. But I really, really wish that he would have. And it's a massive blow for Kevin McStay as well. now not only does he not have Oisin Mullen, who obviously has gone down under to play with us in the Australian Rules Football League, now he's without Lee Keegan too. I think the Mayo defence over the last 2 years has been their calling card. It has been the strongest part of their team. So it'll be very interesting to see how McStay builds that defence now next year. I think Paddy Durkin and Owen McLaughlin are nailed on as in the half-back line. But apart from that, it's going to be very interesting to see who goes where.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's definitely, and you'd wonder, like, he must have been thinking about this for a while, because obviously we're getting this decision in, about 2 weeks before the start of the National Football League, and obviously he wasn't playing in pre-season and anything else. So I don't know if he just delayed sort of his decision in coming out. Maybe he didn't want to make an announcement, and maybe he was just thinking it through, because like, it obviously is such a big decision to step away from something that you've been a part of for 10 plus years. But as you were saying there
was a sign though that he's going. And I think, scared to say this because of who might pop up in RTE studio over the next 12 months, but if a player starts popping up in the punditry for RTE, that's my first kind of inkling that they might be out the door. Like Conor McManus, for example, has started showing up in RTE. He's 34 now, 35. I wouldn't be surprised if Conor McManus is gone in the next year or two, because he's once they're starting to line up that RT punditry job, they're testing what retirement might be like. And once it was okay for Lee Keegan, once he started doing punditry, and I started noticing comments in the videos saying don't do it, Lee, like stick around for 1 year, like stick around for 2 years, don't go. But that's the first inkling for me that someone is almost out the door.
Yeah, I think so. And then when you're seeing all the, pundits and everything that were going into management, you were seeing positions open up in the RT studios for the Sunday game. You were thinking, like, as long as he retires, he's definitely a shoe-in. And
he'll walk in. He'll be there for the big games next year, 100%.
And in terms of, and this is definitely a question even for the viewers who are watching as well, because I know there are plenty of Mayo supporters who do follow this channel. Like you mentioned it there earlier, that you think he could go down maybe as the greatest player to ever play, to ever put on a Mayo jersey. Now, obviously, we didn't see the teams back in 1951 or any of the other All-Ireland winning sides, so we can't really compare it to any of those greats or legends that played back then. But in terms of the modern era, and in terms of any team or any player who's played since Mayo have won an All-Ireland, like, is he the greatest in your opinion?
You see, it's that Mayo have had so many great players. Like, they really, like, one player who was always my personal favourite was Kieran MacDonald, because of how he played the game. Like, the things that Kieran MacDonald could do, the passes that he could play, the points that he scored, even the point that he got against Dublin in 2006, like, even though it was against us, it was an epic point. Like, the way he scored it, his style of play, even the hairstyle, the way that he looked, like he was just a cool player to like. And at the time, obviously, I was only 5 years old, 6 years old. So I loved watching Kieran MacDonald play, and I wanted to play like him. I think they've had some awesome players. Keith Higgins, it was outstanding. He deserves a massive shout. Cillian O'Connor obviously is right up there as championship top scorer. Aidan O'Shea is one that I think gets so much unjust criticism. I wouldn't put him up there with Lee Keegan, but he's been a great servant for this Mayo team and continues to serve to this day. Andy Moran obviously won Footballer of the Year 2017. They've had just amazing players, Mayo, and they have to have got to the final over and over and over again. James Nallen at centre half back, like, is an outstanding player. David Clark in goal, brilliant goalkeeper. I know he had trouble with his kickouts, but like, as a shot stopper, he's as good as I've ever seen a goalkeeper be. Sure, remember that save he made against Bernard Brogan in the semi-final 2012? Like, that was amazing. He was like a cat between the sticks there. The way he got out and shut down Brogan real quick. But, like, listing them out, I think it's genuinely between Lee Keegan and Keith Higgins in terms of the modern era. And I probably would go towards Lee Keegan in terms of the fact that he has won a Footballer of the Year, and he has been up for another Footballer of the Year award only 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think I would as well, to be honest. Like, and I think when you look through these All-Ireland finals, these big games, these big moments, like, he was one who stood up every time, like, and there probably were And there is other players, great players that you mentioned, that probably haven't produced in All Ireland finals. So I think that's probably what shades it